Welcome everyone to CS 4201 Information Retrieval and Web Search. In the first lecture today, I will be discussing the different aspects of the course that we will be learning and different topics that will be covered. I will be briefly going through all of them one by one very briefly. So in this course, the majority of the attention will be given on the study of how a search engine works. Search engines such as say Google search or Bing search or any other search like desktop search or any other type of search, including say searching for a file in your smartphone. So the primary objective of the course will be to study those search engines and how they actually work. Of course, after the study, we will be expected to be gaining that much of expertise such that we will be able to develop a search engine on our own. And together with that, we'll be studying how the users of a search engines typically behave with the system or a search engine, and how the interaction between a user and a search system can be replicated in another way, or how this interaction can be used to increase or to improve the performance of the search engine. We might have encountered so many situations where after searching in the Google, we haven't found any useful information at all. This is the scenario where a search engine fails. So we will be studying why such kind of a failure happens during performing a search. And another topic which will be discussed is how to evaluate the performance of a search engine. Let's say we have searched we have searched with the same query in the Google as well as in say DuckDuckGo. Then how can we be formally verify or evaluate the performance, and how can we quantify how can we just quantify the performance of those two search engines, based on which we can make a decision like which one is better. This is called search engine evaluation, and we will be discussing them as well. So why information retrieval, which is in short called IR, is actually important? Why should we be studying all these things? So as you may know or may already understood that the majority of the information that are being generated by the human being are actually natural language text. Be it from the, consider it from the news articles that are being published every second across the globe, to the social media posts that has been posted every microsecond or maybe every nanosecond. Maybe millions of posts are being put in the social media. Considering all this, the majority or a vast majority of all the informations that are being generated in the world are in the form of natural language text. For example, if we consider the World Wide Web, which is an ever-growing resource of information, is consisting of 95% text. Other than that, we know there are videos, there are images, but the majority is text. Of course, there are books as well. And books are, again, as we can understand, it is basically a combination of text and images. And again, most of the information is available in terms of text. or textual information, as they are called. The interactions, as I said, on social media like Facebook, Twitter, and so many others, there are, they are actually contributing to a vast majority in this 95% of the text that are being generated. Another resource of this information that are being, contributing to the large information, dump in the World Wide Web is the scientific publications. So we know every publication or scientific articles, as they're called, those were actually, again, maybe approximately 98% of the publications are containing a vast majority of text. And of course, there are many other information as well, which are being generated every second across the globe. And we need to have some kind of a smart tool for searching that vast amount of information that are being generated and ever growing. We need to have a smart tool to process those data to predict some future things, like predict some future stock market uprise or similar scenarios. Now, considering that, information retrieval is a field of study which provides the basic background to make a tool to do all these things, like searching, like discovering some facts or discovering some information out of this huge chunk of data. So in this course, we will be learning how to work with textual information, including, say, how to handle misspelling of data or misspelling of words, morphological misspelling or morphologically variation, or synonyms or antonyms. And we will be also working on how to understand whether two documents are discussing on the same topics or not. We will be studying how to apply some textual analytics in a set of data, say find what makes a set of documents different from another set of documents. And as I said, the majority of our attention will be given to how to build a search engine on our own, like how to rank the documents based on the relevance. So as we know, if we are given, say, 100,000 documents, and we are given to find out all the documents containing the mention of, say, the infamous or, say, famous Operation Neptune Spear, of course, we can do a linear search, or we can search all the 100,000 documents to look for the terms Operation Neptune Spear, which is basically the term associated with the assassination of Osama bin Laden. So what we need to do is, with our knowledge, what we'll be doing is, we'll be searching for these three terms in all the documents linearly. So if we perform a simple search like an older desktop search, it will also be searching or also be doing a linear search. That is, it will be opening individual files and checking whether the file is containing the term or not. But as we understand, it is not possible for, say, 100,000 documents, because opening them and reading them all together line by line or making a linear search will be too much time consuming. And of course, there will be many documents containing the term. We need to have a mechanism for rank the documents based on the relevance. So this thing we also need to do, and we will be learning this while learning about or studying the building of a search engine. and we'll be learning how to evaluate the performance of a searching algorithm. That is search engine A is better than search engine B? And finally, we'll be learning how to use the feedback information from the user. So after this course, the expected competence to be gained by the participant, that is by you, is working with large textual collection. I'll be providing you with, I'll be starting with a smaller data, say the size will be around 100 MB. Then I'll be giving you another data set having size around 2 GB. And later on, we'll be discussing ways to actually handle or working with large text collection of scale having a size say 1 TB or 2 TB. We'll also be discussing few shell commands which are very easy to do smaller computations. One major thing that I planned on discussing in this course is to learn PyLucene. So Lucene is a tool that is developed in Java to make this searching easier. And PyLucene is a Python wrapper for this Java package of Lucene. So expected, we will be learning how to use this PyLucene to develop a search engine on our own. There will be some opportunity of working together in a teams of say 4 or 5 people, and I haven't finalized this thought yet, but we might be using GitHub to collaborate among ourselves during a small project or maybe a presentation. Now this CS, extremely sorry, 4201 is not about learning learning anything regarding machine learning or deep learning. This course will be concentrated on learning information retrieval, but we will be discussing some aspects of applying this machine learning and deep learning to improve the performance of an IR system. So the regular schedule of the class is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This is a bit late. I know there is a slot of seminar. If we have some exam like midterm evaluation, not midterm evaluations will be scheduled separately. But if we want to have a separate session on say doubt clearing, we can, and there is no slot on the, there is no seminar in this slot, we can utilize this slot to have a doubt clearing session. But otherwise, we'll be sticking to this schedule. Of course, interaction is a must. You can mail me any kind of doubts to directly me. It would be better if you add this subject, add this token in the subject. It will actually help me to categorize the emails and to actually manage the emails in a better way at my end. This is just for my understanding or making my life easier. But of course, it's not mandatory. Of course, as you can understand, it will be easier for me to understand what is your mail is all about. And if some concerns that you are or some points that you are raising or you are sharing is concerning all the participants of this course, please send the email to this CCing me or email to me CCing this group. In that case, everyone will be in the same loop. So as the courses will be running online, connection drop can happen and it's unavoidable, as you can already understood. But I have actually 2 internet connections. If the connection drop happens at my end, please stay there in the in the Meet link. I'll be rejoining within a couple of minutes. So, but I'm not expecting the same from your end. So in case there is a connection drop at your end, please don't be panicked. If the connection, you get the connection back, then rejoin. Otherwise, as I said, I'll be sharing the recordings anyway. You can study them and you can get back to me with some doubts. The tentative grading for the course will be this: 30% to be given for the mid sem, then 40% for the end sem. Uh, then this is something which is open-ended. I can actually modify this. 15% may be given to assignment and 15% on presentation. So on presentation, you might be given a topic, or you might be given one paper, one research paper on which you have to make a presentation. Like I'll be giving you a 10-page research paper. Don't panic again, as it will not be that much tough for you. But of course, I'll be helping if you face any difficulty. What you need to do is you need to study that research paper and you need to make a presentation of say 15 minutes. For this presentation, depending on the time requirement, I may form some groups among you. I think there are altogether around 20 participants in this course. Excuse me. And I'll be breaking you up in separate groups, say 4 or 5, and you need to make the assignments on some topics and some presentation as well. But this is a tentative planning. It can actually change. The lecture format will be 45 minutes per class. I'm sticking to this one because I understand that the previous class before CS4201, it may actually overrun. So keeping that in mind, I'll be starting 5 minutes late. So if the class is at 4 o'clock, I'll be starting at 4:05, and I'll be trying to end the discussion of that class 10 minutes before the scheduled end. That is, if the class is up to 5 o'clock, I'll be trying to finish it by 4:50. But of course, I might not be able to do that. I'm considering one particular topic that we have started discussing and it is taking some time to finish. But I will not be starting anything new after 4:50 or 10 minutes before the scheduled end of the time. I'll be using slides for every class. Together with that, I'll be using a whiteboard like this. So here I'll be writing everything for your understanding. And this is an interactive, of course. It will be a counterpart or a very weak version, similar version of the chalk and duster thing. As I said, all classes will be recorded and all the materials, including the recording, the slides that using which I'll be teaching. Together with that, the codes that I'll be writing on PyLucin, I will be sharing them. All the sharing will be done in the WeLearn. And although the classes will be recorded, but I'll be requesting you to attend the live classes. It will be actually easier for you to interact with me during the live class. I'll also be requesting you to keep a pen and paper nearby to take small notes. It will be easier for you to understand in the latter part. So please feel free to interrupt me at any point of time. Just unmute yourself and raise your voice, like if you have any question. And feel free to ask any kind of question, how trivial that may sound to yourself as well. Like, don't be shy, just ask the question. It might be the case that your question is a very important one that I'm missing. So don't be shy. So the two books that I'll be primarily following are these two books, in Introduction to Information Retrieval by Christopher Manning and Prabhakar Raghavan and Henrik Schutze. Together with that, I'll be following another book called Information Retrieval, Implementing and Evaluating Search Engines. It is a book published by MIT Press by Stefan Bucher and his team, actually his colleagues at University of Waterloo. Uh, the good part of this course is both of them are actually freely available officially. So the entire book of this Stefan Bucher book is actually available in this URL. You can actually download the PDF, and in this URL you will be finding the individual parts or individual section or individual chapter of this book. So you can download them. They are available in terms of PDF as well as simple HTML. Any question regarding the modality of the course? Okay. Then what is information retrieval? So it is basically, what is information? Let's first discuss what is information. So information, by information, we will be referring to a collection of facts from which some conclusions can be drawn. We will be referring to this collection of facts as information. And what is retrieval? It is the process of seeking out something back from somewhere. Now, what is this something and what is this somewhere? We will be discussing in this course. So, the retrieval is basically the process of seeking out, or you can say the process of searching. So, you can say information retrieval is equivalent to information searching. Putting together, information retrieval is the process of seeking out documents of unstructured nature that satisfies the information need of an user from within a collection of documents. Now, this somewhere is basically the collection of documents. Process of seeking out something is basically formally called the information need, and this process is basically the information retrieval process. So it is the process of seeking out documents, basically process of seeking out information like information document of unstructured nature that satisfies the information need of an user. Now, just to give you a very basic example, let's say I want to, so let's say I have an encyclopedia of snake. So where the information regarding the life cycle, the habitual, habitual features of every snakes are reported. Now, in that case, the collection of documents is basically the encyclopedia of snake. Now, let's say a user comes to you with the information need of information need is basically some question that is arising into the mind of user. So let's say the user wants to know the lifespan or the lifespan of say Python, or say lifespan of say any snake, say cobra or python. So this is the information need. Now the task of information retrieval is to seek out some documents from this encyclopedia of snake that is satisfying, or where in which documents the answer to this information need is stated. That is, all those documents in which the lifespan of Python is stated should be retrieved by the information retrieval system. This is a very basic example of the information retrieval scenario. Now, for the document, a document can be of many types like text, audio, video, images, but we will be primarily, or not primarily, but we'll be focusing on the textual documents. That is, documents will be just the textual part. Let's say the newspaper article of say the Telegraph from 1st of January 2021 to the 31st of January 2021. So this will be the collection of documents, for example, where all the textual information will be only considered. There will be some images, I know, but we will be concentrating only on the textual part. Now let's concentrate on two other parts. Here we have discussed about these documents. We have discussed about this collection of documents. Like this is formally will be called as corpus. We have discussed about the different types of documents, and we have stated that we will be concentrating on textual documents. Now the other two parts is basically the nature of the document and the information need in details. So by unstructured nature, we will be referring to the fact that there is no specific structure. By structured data, in computer science, it refers to the table data in a relational database, where there is a table, like say there is say account number and say balance. So this kind of a RDBMS or relational database, let's only write RDB. These are called structured data. But in structured data, the searchings are kind of easier to perform. We will be briefly contrasting between searching in unstructured data and structured data in tomorrow's class. But what I want to highlight here is this unstructured nature, which is no specific structure is there. So it will be just a free flow text, just a collection of words. And by information need, it is basically the query of the user. Okay. So basically, if I take a step back, then information retrieval is the process of seeking out information from a collection of unstructured data or unstructured documents, that is a collection of basically a set of documents containing just free flow text that satisfies some information need or some query from the user. So this is the definition or informal definition of information retrieval. Any question up to this? All right. So information retrieval is rooted long back from a domain of research or domain of study called library science. So in library science, given some keywords, the librarian needs to find some certain books addressing those kind of information need. So rooting back at library science, information retrieval has been evolved to a drastic new scenario that we will be discussing in this course. The most practical application, as I'm sure you must have realized by now, is the Google search. In Google search, what we need, what we are given, basically we are given a text box. So here in this text box, we need to provide the keyword query, and the Google search engine is expected to give us some answers or some documents, which is basically addressing or uh, basically fulfilling the information need from which this keyword or this keyword query has been generated. So Google is the most sought after application of information retrieval that we use every day. But together with this, let me tell you this, that information retrieval is not only about Google or Google search. There are many other applications of information retrieval that we will be studying in this course. So let's define this information retrieval process graphically. If I consider this Google search, and if I provide a keyword, say India, or say Indian captain, can someone say what is the, where this two keywords will be searched? And what is the expected information need from which this keyword has been generated? Anyone? Make a wild guess. My question is, in where the user is actually wants to search, or where Google will be searching with this search query. I'm online, right? Yeah, please.
In captain list, when it will try to find the list of captain's name.
No, I want to ask the question. Let me reformulate the question. If I perform a search like this in Google, Google will be searching with these keywords, right? These two terms. Where it will be searching? Where? My question is where. As I said, it will be searching within a collection of documents. So in case of Google search, what is this collection of documents? It will be basically almost the entire World Wide Web. The entire World Wide Web is not possible because every time the World Wide Web is evolving, but it can be considered as a snapshot of the World Wide Web. So using this search term, Google will be searching on the snapshot of www or World Wide Web to satisfy the information need. Now, can someone say what was the information need from which I have generated this query? The information need can be, I want to know the captain of Indian cricket team. I want to know the captain of Indian cricket team. Note that I haven't used the term cricket anywhere. But still, search at your end. This is a simple task for you. Search with this query and you will be finding the captain of Indian cricket team as the top search. Although Indian captain can also refer to Indian captain of, say, football team or say hockey team, but it will be giving you the result on Indian cricket team, the captain of Indian cricket team. So these are certain parts that I will be trying to cover in this course. Why, even though I'm not providing cricket, why cricket, the Indian cricket team captain is being returned at the top rank? Okay. Okay. So the graphically information retrieval process starts like this. First of all, we need, or the information retrieval system needs corpus, that is a set of documents in which the searching will be performed. So corpus is nothing but a set of documents. The documents will be represented in certain form so that the information, the retrieval part or the search part can be performed fast. Using this document representation, the information retrieval system will be making an index. So this is the part of the information retrieval system that will be done before the user came into the picture. Now the user came into the picture with some information need. As I said, my information need was, I want to know the captain of Indian cricket team. So from this information need, I used some query representation mechanism and I generated a query, which I hope you can remember. I have given Indian captain. My information need was, I want to know the captain of Indian cricket team, but the query that I have given was Indian captain. Now, the retrieval model, the most important part of the information retrieval system, will be taking this query as an input. It will be considering the index of the documents or the set of documents of the corpus, and it will be returning a set of documents ranked in a ranked way, like D1, D2. So this D are basically the documents from this corpus. So from this corpus, these documents will be returned back to the user with the expectation that it will be satisfying the information need of the user. Now, this evaluation part is the part using which the user will be understanding whether the system has returned some relevant information to the user or not. Right? Now, for this evaluation part, we need the intervention of the user. Right? Otherwise, the information need is of the user, was of the user, right? From that, there was, using some query representation module, a query was generated, and based on which a set of results were also generated or returned back to the user. Now, as the information need was generated by the user is the only person who can actually state, or who can actually say whether these documents are actually relevant to this information need or not. Right? So we need an intervention of the user to understand the performance of the retrieval model, which is formally called the evaluation. Now, the information retrieval system is basically responsible for this part, like indexing a set of documents, or basically the corpus, performing the retrieval using the query, and returning the set of documents to the user. This is the responsibility. This is the primary responsibility of our information retrieval system. There are certain other aspects as well, or other parts as well, like feedback. It can be the case that the retrieval system asks the user to mark certain documents as relevant or non-relevant. Let's say the retrieval model or the information retrieval system asks the user to mark the document for a feedback, like he had marked this D1. So either earlier it was just a set of documents. Now he had marked D1 as a relevant, D2 as non-relevant, D3 as relevant, D4 relevant, D5 non-relevant. the user had given this feedback. Now, using this feedback, the information retrieval system can employ a feedback model using which they can actually create a reformed query, and using which retrieval, another set of retrieval is expected to be giving us a better set of documents. With again, the expectation will be that it will be satisfying the information need of the user. So together everything, so this is the responsibility of an information retrieval system. So primarily in the first part, we will be focusing on this. Then we'll be focusing on this. Then very briefly we'll be focusing on this. Then in the second half or after the mid semester, we'll be focusing on this, that is feedback and feedback model. Basically not this, basically this. And of course reformed query, everything, this part will be covered. And after that we'll be covering some advanced evaluation techniques as well. This is the framework or the way we will be walking through the course. First, document representation, then query representation, then retrieval model. Sorry, so I forgot this part. This is the most important part. Extremely sorry. After this, we will be covering this part. 1, 2, 2.5, then 3, then 4, then 5. So this is the most important part. Sorry that I forgot this. Then result evaluation, then the feedback model. Together with that, we will be discussing ways of doing everything, doing this information retrieval part or information retrieval system part using PyLucene, which is a industry standard retrieval model. And finally, we will be comparing and contrasting with the web search, or how the web search is different from this scenario, or how we can actually replicate a similar web search scenario at our end offline. So that's it for today's discussion. Any question?